Good evening, YouTubers. T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you with the Lake Fork breakdowns. Tonight, we're actually going to do two different zones. We're going to do zones 3 and zone 4 for the Google Earth waypoints. So stick around. Should have some good stuff for you. Here we go. All right, well, let's jump into this thing. We talked about it before on the introduction. We were going to go into zones 3 and zone 4. So real quick, just to kind of give you a brief overview here. If you haven't seen the videos before, definitely click the link up the top. That'll take you to them. Or go out and look at our lake breakdowns on our Simplistic Fishing site on YouTube, and you can get to all the lake breakdowns we've done, not just Lake Fork, but all the other lakes around. Just so real quick, just a recap. We did cover zone 1 on that first video. So that would be this lower half of the lake and to the east, so the Caney side. And then we also, for zone 2, we went to Little Caney. And then tonight, we were actually going to work on zones 3 and zones 4. So that's going to be these two right here. And then just a friendly reminder, I have started to add the offshore hotspots. That's actually going to start this time with Lake Fork. So Lake Fork will be the first one that actually has not only the Google Earth waypoints, but also the offshore hotspots when you order the cards from the site. And so real quick, I wanted to show you that. These are the offshore hotspots that we've marked on Lake Fork. And I will go over these with you guys on a video to actually take you through everything. But I wanted to show them to you really quick. I'm going to put all these zones up here, and we are going to take a look at this thing. And it is pretty cool. All right, so here's all the offshore spots. There's all your Google Earth waypoints. Pretty much, you're going to be able to take that card that you purchased from the site, plug it into your graph, depending on what type of graph you have. I'll give you the right file format. You plug it in, and then pretty much the lake has already been mapped out for you. And then you just go to these spots, depending on the season, transition times, things like that, and it should put you in business and really make fishing simple. And that's what we're all about here at Simplistic Fishing. So with all that said, let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to go back up here. We're going to go to zones 3 and zone 4, and let's jump into this thing. So first off, as far as the year goes, the best year that the image I could find was 7 of 2012. I couldn't use the same image that I used before on the lower half of the lake, 10 of 2012, because the imagery just wasn't set up that way. So this is really the best image that I could find. And let's just start here. There's actually a ramp way back in here. And this image actually drives me nuts because it's so bright. But there's a ramp back in here. In fact, while we're doing this, let's just move this up so so it doesn't hurt our eyes so much. So there's our ramp. Got some debris and things like that, but I didn't really see too much going on these bank lines. Obviously just a lot of standing timber. There is a little ditch back in here, but I didn't really know if I should mark it or not because it looks like it's probably extremely shallow back in there. But that could be a potential area to look at, especially right around in here where it gets pretty significant. So then moving back up into these other pockets up here, I did see a real significant creek channel in here though. I really liked it. It's a little bit wider than the other one we just saw. Has a lot of timber around it as well, but it has some really nice bends and things like that, and it comes up against the bank line right here pretty hard. So take a look at that. Another ramp that's over here. A lot of stumps and things like that back in here, just typical fork stuff. And then when we get around this point, you'll see there's another creek channel back in here as well. So you kind of got two. You got one that comes over here from the left, and then you got this one that comes from up here. So pretty good ditch that runs along there. So just follow those lines and fish around those lines, and that's going to put you right up next to the creek channel. And then you can pretty much just fish it from there on out. Fish all the bends, things like that. And I would also, if you're fishing that, it might be a good idea to come over here too, because you've got another ditch that's on this side. So maybe mark this ditch and then fish in this area too. You've got some laydowns over here. This looks like it could have been an old pond or something like that. You got a couple laydowns in here too, but I really like that ditch right there. And then of course I like any of these bends, anywhere it makes the turn would be a good area to look at. So you've also got some ramps here, another ramp here. We're going to kind of come out, go out of these points. We're going to come back in from here. Now, one thing to notice here again, we've got this roadbed, right? It's coming straight down through here. And we probably marked it on the offshore hotspots, but my guess is there's probably an old roadbed somewhere in here. Maybe it's right there. It kind of looks like it might be right there. So take a look in this area and see if there's a roadbed. There could be a roadbed right off that point, and that could be a really good area to look at. I didn't notice that when I was marking these, but take a look. So we also have another ramp that's over here, and then a roadbed that's right here as well. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the roadbed didn't go there, but there is definitely one right here that you can see. So scan around those roadbeds. We've talked about it a lot. Sometimes they're not in the same location. They'll just run up and down that roadbed. So you really got to get out there and scan it, mark to see where your bait fish is. Once you find that bait fish, then you're pretty much going to find the bass. So always be looking for that bait fish. All right, so I'm going to keep moving over here. Didn't see too much going on in the bank lines on these, but there is a ramp that's tucked way back in here. And then you do have some pretty good cover and stuff, to flip around, stuff like that in this little area. There's another ramp there too that I missed. So maybe a good little pocket to take a look at. Obviously, it's going to be season dependent, but it'd definitely be a good one to look at. And then when we get out here on these docks, I really think, there's not that many docks on Fork. So we have fished the docks on Fork and had a lot of success on them. So don't be scared to kind of change it up a little bit and say, hey, I'm just going to go hit the docks, because docks can produce on Forks. Don't be scared of that. But anyways, we do have some brush that's back here behind this dock. That image is actually not showing it. Let me see if I can find the one that actually had it on there. I can't find it, but we'll skip it. But there is brush that's right there. There's a tire that's hidden in here, and then there's a ramp that's right here as well that you can see. I'm going to keep moving up. This point looks kind of interesting, only because if you notice here, there's nothing here, and then all of a sudden now you've got some brush or stick-ups or something going on there. I don't know if those willow bushes or what that is, but that could be an interesting little transition area. I didn't pick that up the first time, but there's definitely a transition going on right in that area. All right, so I'm gonna keep moving up into these pockets. Not a lot going on in there. I don't think I saw too much back up in that side, but there is a really nice creek channel back in here that I marked for you guys. So let's see if I can draw that image back so you can see it. And now you can see it shows up a lot better. So a really deep spot in this little area, and right in here where this little bend is right here, that could be really, really good. So this looks like a good spot. I would definitely go and look at that one for sure. I like the way that creek channel comes up across. I like how you got some vegetation back there. It's all just setting up pretty good. And it's kind of off the beaten path, I guess, a little bit. There's not that much traffic up in this area as much as there is in the lower part of the lake. So would be a decent area to take a look at. There's also a ramp right here. We've got a ramp that's hidden back in here as well. And then I put debris here, but it looks like they actually rebuilt this dock. But let's see if we move this image up, that dock may have gotten wiped out. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, guys. I don't want to waste your time, but you can see there the dock is actually starting to fall apart. So check that dock and see, there you go. Check that dock and see if it's still broke down or not. 2013, it looked good, but now here I'm on an image for April of 2017, and you can see that dock has definitely got a lot of debris in the water. And these are really good spots to find. This is a dock with debris off of a point. That's looking really good. Take a look at that. See if that dock's still busted, and if it is, fish it for sure. You got another ramp that's right in here. Could be an old roadbed as well. I couldn't really tell. It was kind of hard to tell. But a lot of these bridges that you have on Fork, they'll have submerged bridges parallel to them and submerged roadbeds. So look at all of them. Anytime you come under the bridge, start looking on your finders and your maps to see if there's any type of an underwater road or underwater bridge. If there is, those are good areas to fish in the summertime, big time. All right, so I'm going to move on up here. We've also got some additional creek channels that are back in here that you can see. This one comes up pretty close to the bank line right here as well. And I like that little curve that it makes. Not too many bends around it, but there's a couple back in there as well. I'm going to zoom back out here. We're going to keep going up. We do have a pond dam that's in here. You can kind of see it. I'm going to zoom in. Yep, you can see it. So you got the pond dam that's right here. And as I mentioned before, those pond dams can be really, really good. So don't overlook them. Sometimes they're really obvious, but people just don't fish them or don't even pay any attention to them, and they're money spots. You've also got a really nice ditch that's coming along right here. So I'm going to pull this back a little bit and show you guys. Now this could be an old road as well that's kind of been washed out. So I couldn't tell, but it was just significant enough for me to be able to mark it for you guys. And then there's a creek channel that runs back in here as well. So this little pocket, it looks pretty interesting. Definitely looks like something that I would want to go up there and take a look at. And then we're going to come up here, and over here beside this dock, there's actually a brush pile, and you can see it just barely sticking out. But a nice little brush pile there. Again, you crappie fishermen, that might be a good place to look for sure. And then as we get back in here, we've got a pretty significant creek channel, and I've marked this thing for you guys. I don't want to make you dizzy by keep moving the dates back and forth, but trust me, I've pulled the images down back and forth to be able to mark this for you. So this is the actual creek channel, and you'll have all of those on that waypoint thing. And basically just follow those dots. It's going to take you around the bends and everywhere you need to go for that creek channel. And those, I tell you, as far as the waypoints go, in doing this for you guys, obviously I get to benefit from it too. The biggest benefit that I've had from these waypoints has definitely been those creek channels. Being able to go out on a lake and know exactly where those creek channels are and be able to fish around them has just made fishing so much easier for us. So I hope you guys can take advantage of that stuff. All right, so we've got some more creek channels in here as well that I marked for you. If you can't tell, I love fishing creek channels. And then down here, we've got another creek channel that we've marked as well. So really, you've got quite a few creeks up in this little arm. I mean, you've got, the major one here. You've got this one on the left, or two on the left, and then two more on the right as well. So you really got 5 different creek arms that you could fish right there in that one arm of the lake. So that's one thing I like about Lake Fork. It just has so much diversity. There's so many different things and different stuff that you can fish. It's a really fun lake to fish for sure. So then moving on down here, a couple more ramps. There's a ramp here and a ramp over here, and then another creek channel tucked way back in here. You can see it. It's pretty significant. Makes a pretty good bend there as well. Gets all kinds of funky in here, and then kind of spits out to a really nice pond dam. And if you look at this, there's got to be a good drop right here where I marked where this pond dam is. So fish on the back side of this as well as the front side, but the back side looks like it might have a pretty good drop there, and that might be a good spot to find something good. So there's the ramp that we talked about there. Coming back in here, it's going to get Ramp City. So it's ramp, and I'm going to stop saying that because it sounds like I'm trying to rap, but here's all the ramps. So if you got on that ramp pattern, I mean, that's going to be it right there. I mean, if you get on a ramp pattern and a creek channel pattern at the same time, you might as well just live in this arm because it has everything that you need. It's got a ton of ramps right here, and then it's got all those creek channels when you get further in there. So you got another ramp here, another one here, another one way back in here. And I didn't really mark this creek channel because even when the lake is up, you can kind of see, and I don't even know if it is a creek channel. It might just be dug out from a long time ago or something, but you can kind of see where the path is. And even when you put the water at pool, you can still kind of see where that's at. So I didn't want to waste the waypoints there for you guys, so I did not mark that. Coming on down back out here to more towards the main part of the lake. Let me kind of show you guys where I'm at so I don't lose you. I'm way up here on the north end now. I'm going to look right here. We've got the ramp. We've also got some laydowns that are over here in this little pocket. You'll see. Let me zoom this in. Kind of see them there. There's probably a better image, but again, I don't want to keep moving it back and forth. That way I can keep you a clearer image here. We've also got a ramp that's right here, another one here, and another one in that pocket, and another one further up, and one right here as well. So lots of ramps. Ramps, more ramps, ramps and ramps. Now, out of all those ramps, if the ramp pattern wasn't on, I definitely wouldn't fish them. But I'd fish 4 or 5 of them to see if it is, because it almost always is. And then if it's not on, this could be a good area too. See how this dot comes out and you've got this drop right here by the seawall? And then you got a little ramp in the back. Sometimes they'll collect in these areas. So take a look at that and also fish along that seawall right there. Just see what you can find. All right, moving on up, we got more ramps. We got another ramp there, another one there, and another one up here. And then when we get further up here, I mean, we're getting way up on the north side of the lake. There is a ditch that's right up here that you can see. Kind of comes through here, goes underneath that little culvert there, and goes right through here. Now, if I change that back to a different image, I think that that ditch becomes really significant. I don't think I can get you guys. There's a better one for 2016. You can see how significant it is. So that could be an interesting area to look at. Obviously, you got to be super careful because you've got trees galore everywhere, but if you fish Fork, you're used to that, and you'll just be able to find your way around them. So we've also got another ramp that's up here, and then a really good creek channel that's coming through here too. And this one makes a real good bend right here and right here. I mean, if you set up here and cast it across, or set up here, cast this way, all kinds of different ways that you could fish that depending on where they're at, but that could probably be a really good spot. As long as you can get up there. Like I said, those trees make it really difficult sometimes to get to some of these places. I'm going to keep moving on down. We're going to go around that bend, and then we're going to come up here. We've got more creek channels to mark for you guys. We got some more up here. This one's pretty good. It's got really good vegetation in the back. It looks like, pretty good. It looks like it has some decent depth when the water's up. Some real good bends to take a look at. All kinds of good stuff. And it looks like there's actually a ramp right there, or some kind of boat dock. But that looks good. I would fish all around this area right here. You basically got a creek channel bend that hits that boat ramp. So anytime you can get 2 for 1, that's always good. You got another ramp here touching that creek channel too. And I didn't even see this, but you got a pond dam back here as well. Right there. Good stuff. All right, so I'm going to keep moving over. We've got more creek channels up here. I went ahead and marked these. Now, the reason why you see it stop right here is because when I move the water up, when the water's full, you can see some of these areas still because it's so shallow back in there. But if you couldn't see it, I went ahead and marked it for you. So you've got the creek channel there. You've got another ramp as well, and then you got a ramp here. And then again, more creek channels. You got a big one up here that looks really good. Lots of bends to fish. Lots of different areas. You've got around the bridge as well would be a good area to fish. Anywhere these things make that bend, that would be a good area. Right here, you got a little junction area between another little old creek or something like that, touching the big creek arm. So you got all kinds of good stuff to fish around here. So that would definitely be a good area to look at. You got to take some time to get up there because it's ways up there, but probably worth your time to go up there as long as it's not the wrong time of year. You've got a creek channel here as well. Tuck back in here, and I forgot to show you guys over here to my left. We've also got a ramp that's right here, and I was hoping that the water would come up over that thing and we could fish that pond back there, but that's not the case. It looks like it's always like that. We've also got a ramp that's over here. And a couple more things here. We've got an old pond that's right here. And don't really have a very good, you don't have a very good pond dam here at all that I see, but went ahead and marked the pond because, like I said, pond dams are always good. You got another one here, but this one's probably, in the water or out of the water, but try it and see if you can get to it. And then you got a ramp here as well. And then moving back here, you got a real significant ditch that comes right through here. And I've mentioned this before, where sometimes these ditches are awesome because people just don't pay attention to them and the fish will just load up in there. So anytime you see me mark a ditch, just go take a look at it, throw around the sides of it, scan it if you can, just see what you can find because sometimes they'll really load up in those areas. You got another pond dam that's back in here as well. I thought this was rocks at first. I thought, what in the world is rock? Those are some white birds, those big old white birds they have out there on Fork. They're huge. Then you've also got a ramp that's right here. Another ramp that's over here. And we're going to start getting into Ramp City again. So here we got a ramp and more ramps. Lots and lots of ramps here as well. All around that whole area. So pretty much, again, if you're on the ramp pattern, you can go flat out crazy in this area. Now, there is something I want to show you back in here other than just all those ramps, and that is this road bed that's back here. So again, pretty much anytime you see a road on Lake Fork, especially if you see a bridge, scan around it because usually there's something underwater that's parallel to it, like an old road bed or something like that. And in this case, is the same thing. This is the old road bed right here. You kind of got a little creek access here. This could be good right in here. Take a look at this and also look at that pond dam that's back in there too. All right, so I'm going to zoom back out. We've got all those ramps that I talked about, more ramps there, ramps and more ramps. I mean, just tons of ramps in this area. And you've got another ramp that's tucked back in here as well. And then as we make our way around that point, just got a couple more ramps over in these two places. And then finally we get to some good stuff, and that would be another pond dam that's back here. So, man, look what you have to go through to get back here. But if you can get back here, there's actually a little creek that comes through here that I didn't see. So that looks interesting. And then also over here, a really good pond dam to take a look at. So that might be worth going in. If you can hit those two spots, that's probably worth idling in there. And then moving on down here, we got more ramps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different ramps in just this area right here. And the sad thing is most of them are private. All right, so I believe this is Lake Fort Marina. Yeah, this is Lake Fort Marina, so you have your ramps there. And there was some rocks that I found right off of this point right here. So you can see them right here. They kind of come up on the edge and along the side. Now, if you've heard me talk about this before, those are always good for like shaky heads. Get as close as you can to them, fish parallel to them if you can. Shaky heads and really square bills. I mean, square bills were probably number 1, shaky head would be number 2, but I don't know why the shaky head works on that shallow little rock like that, but it does, and it's easy to fish. So you've got a little bit more of that rock there, but I couldn't tell if it was rock. And then down here, you've got an old boat ramp that's down in here, and then a ramp here as well. And then I'm going to move this over. Back here, you've got an old boat ramp too. Can't really see it, but let me move this back. 2. There we go. Now you can see it a lot better. That's 2014, but you can see where the old boat ramp is. So some interesting stuff back in there for sure. You got an old pond dam that's here. And this one looks really good. It's a pretty significant pond dam, so you got some pretty good breaks on both sides of them. And then again, you've got another pond dam that's right down here, and that's going to finish us up for zones 3 and zone 4 for Lake Fork. So we only have one more zone to go to cover the Google Earth waypoints. That's pretty much going to take us along this entire side, which should be really, really good for us. And then we'll go over and we'll talk about the offshore hotspots that I showed you guys earlier in the video. We'll go over those, and then we'll finish up the videos for Lake Fork. So I appreciate you guys sticking around. Thank you so much for doing these lake breakdowns for me. For those of you that are out there that have purchased those cards, thank you so much. That's helped us a ton, and we're having a ton of fun doing this, so we're going to continue to break down more lakes. So if you have a lake you want us to break down, send it my way, and I'll add it to the list. And until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take care, guys.